Right, decided before even starting to work on the commentary for this one to split this bit of raw footage up a bit to make the length a bit more manageable for me instead of hoping I could find enough excuses to fast forward to keep it under half an hour long. And have I mentioned that the loading jingle is always going to be satisfying to me? Bit of an odd place to put the super missile, but then just about all the places they put upgrades in these games, from major to minor ones, are kind of random in their own way. So it apparently just uses up ammo from the regular missile count at an increased rate instead of... Okay, wow! I'm even less likely to use that in battle than I thought. It's not that it's too complicated to remember to do it. It's just that I prefer a lot of rapid-fire weak shots over a long setup for a massive hit. I mean, it's not like some of these enemies have a period of invulnerability after a single hit, so we want to make every shot that actually lands as painful as possible. Right, not sure why I thought there was more to scan in here than just the terminal for the elevator. Yeah, still nothing else here other than the door to move on. Right, so we've got another concentration of pirates to deal with. Not really worried about it since we started this fight at full health. Right, so it's officially time for us to start fighting the guys who use jetpacks. It might be a little worrying to deal with kamikaze fast movers, since the enemy is more inclined to drop missiles than health. There's not really much we can do about that, though. Just shoot them down and check how damaged we are when it's all said and done. At least they aren't all that capable of turning when they try to ram us. That's some good news. It would be better news if we knew just how many of these guys we're gonna have to deal with before we're done here. But then I can't think of too many games that let you know just how much crap you have to deal with in a given encounter outside of boss fights that give you some measure of how much damage the boss can take. But then this game seems to pick and choose which boss fights are worth giving an explicit health bar to. Right. Even when we're full-on missiles, we're likely to get more missiles than health. Someone please remind me why I feel this game is one of the easiest Metroids to play through from start to finish, because there are several aspects of this thing that make it feel like an outright grind to go through. Right, another room where the only thing to look at in here is the elevator. And why was I expecting the creature made of pure energy to give us a health item when we killed it? My expectations seem to be all over the place. Oh, son of a bitch. We've got Metroids here and no freeze beam. But at least we're in a cold environment. Hopefully that will count for something. I'm pretty sure the removal squad deserted the moment they heard they would have to deal with a Phazon-enhanced Metroid, and I certainly don't blame them. I thought the hooks were for holding on to whatever they were sucking energy out of, since they always are so damn stubborn to let go. But then it's not like the damn things have ever actually had a mouth before, at least not until they advance beyond the jellyfish-inspired first stage of their life cycle. Right. Make the things you already consider the most dangerous creatures even more dangerous. How could that ever backfire on you? It's almost a shame we don't give them the time to kill themselves this way. Improvements, huh? Well, considering we managed to beat him even when he gets to the point of Super Metroid in the timeline, I don't think what they're doing is going to be all that drastic. Oh, there's no way he's the mainstay of your security, since we haven't had to fight him yet, but we're still pretty deep in your research labs. Hell, I could have sworn he was supposed to be a general for the pirates or something. But then I also had that feeling for Kraid as well, and it's not like either of them had any moments to actually show leadership qualities. Possibly just a limitation with the 2D entries, but still, something I felt was worth mentioning. Well, at least the damn thing didn't decide to break out of its cage the moment we came too close to it, though I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to fight against Metroids around here pretty soon. Please tell me the ice beam is nearby. Son of a bitch, he just had to wait for me to finish reading his log entry before breaking free, didn't he? Huh. So we don't need the ice beam in order to make them vulnerable to missiles in this game. Wow. I'm not sure how to react to the game making the franchise named Monster easier to deal with this game for some reason. I mean, sure, it's a relief since we don't actually have the ice beam just yet, but at the same time, these are goddamn Metroids. One of these should not go down with about the same ease as taking down one of the local she-goths without the proper equipment. That's about as strange to me as taking down a vampire without a wooden stake. It doesn't quite feel narratively impossible, but it doesn't really feel like the proper way to finish the damn thing. Yeah, it looks like that Metroid grew a little partway through that fight. So you're combining the the super dangerous substance with your own genetic structure. Because of course you are. You've hit all the other mad scientist tropes, after all. Keyword there is should. But considering you're planning on testing this stuff on your own people, I have the distinct feeling you don't actually give a damn if it turns their brains to mush, so long as they become more powerful, dangerous warriors. Well, at least they're willing to kill the Metroids if they get loose. I suppose that's a bit of sanity sprinkled into this mess. But then I suppose it isn't an especially high bar to jump over, is it? If Murder Beast gets loose, shoot to kill. Honestly nice that they have an animation if a Metroid latches onto a pirate. It's barely any different from how a pirate falls if he's shot to death, but still, I appreciate the effort. Okay, didn't dodge that one fast enough. Starting to get the feeling that Metroids in this game are just plain a hell of a lot easier to deal with in general. Huh. They may be thriving, but we've certainly faced tougher Metroids over the years. But again, maybe it's unfair to judge the combat in 2D games with 3D, especially when this is the first time they've done 3D for this franchise. Of course it does. They're a fantasy race of especially deadly predators. If they didn't break several actual rules about how predators work, then they wouldn't be as scary to deal with. Right, so they don't know exactly how the energy is absorbed, just that it happens and it's lethal. So about as much as we already knew with little to no research of our own. And I doubt they're gonna learn all that much more about the Metroids before Samus wipes them out far later in the timeline. Right, so something got loose and became completely uncontrollable for them. Not surprising considering what happened in the space station, that's for sure. I'm sure we'll get in there eventually, regardless of them restricting access. That's how these things generally go, after all. Well, we've certainly been getting plenty of lore entries here in the base, and again, I honestly enjoy reading the pirate entries a lot more than the Chozo ones. So the reason they try training the things is because they can't figure out how to make artificial Metroids. still seems kinda stupid, but at least there's some measure of logic to it. Is it a bad thing that I find it easier to get pulled into the logic of the space pirates than the Chozo? Seriously, for the most part, the Chozo are supposed to be the benevolent space elves trying to make the galaxy a better place before they left. The pirates are outright villains who are meant to make things go from bad to worse. Well, we certainly didn't have to do anything especially annoying to get to that upgrade. Right, is there anything else in this room worth grabbing or scanning, though considering we've been grabbing and scanning absolutely everything? Worth it is probably the wrong phrase to use. Right! No surprise that they aren't that concerned that trying to make super pirates is just killing their own troops. Yeah. That's one of the problems with making your monsters less susceptible to the standard weaknesses. It becomes harder and harder to pacify them. Hence why your own monsters broke free on the space station and made things all the harder for you. Well, this is certainly going to be an awkward upgrade to reach. Kinda surprised I didn't fall on the way over to it. As tempting as it is to go back up there, we've also got a door that leads down. Well, that little bastard certainly didn't waste any time leaving after landing a single hit. Kinda surprised it took us this long to run into an ice beetle, considering some of the other regional variants we've seen so far. I get how it's more durable and all that, but why did the lore entry say it enhanced digging abilities here? At best, that just feels like an excuse to give this thing some short-range teleportation. Not that this particular bug seems all that inclined to teleport all over the place. Yeesh! So, he didn't react to us shooting the door open, but he did react to us walking through it. I suppose that kinda confirms that everyone has to shoot doors open, not just Samus. Bit of an odd design for doors, but then I'm an old-fashioned guy. You know, It's times like this when I wish I had a better idea of how skillful the average fighter actually is in the Metroid universe. The times when I wonder just how effective the enemy security measures would be against anyone who wasn't Samus Aran, but was instead some random grunt in the Federation or a more average bounty hunter. It's not a major thing, just a minor itch that occasionally comes to me as we rip through a decent amount of enemy defenses with little to no trouble. Anyway, going to check if there was anything worth seeing before we see what's on the bottom floor. At the very least, I'm seeing a decent number of Metroids stuck in these energy cages. That's probably gonna be a problem for us relatively soon. I don't suppose there's a way to turn off that force field, since whatever's in there is probably important to us. Darn. Was hoping it was the ice beam, not thermal visor. I guess we'll just have to see how useful it turns out to be for us once we get it. Well, that took care of part of the barrier for the upgrade. It's not free to grab just yet, though. We've still got some work to do, work that I can probably speed up at least a little, since I'm not exactly the most prompt person around here. Considering thermal imaging has been a thing for quite a few decades in the real world, I don't see why the thermal visor is being treated as so important in this game. But then I suppose we're not supposed to see until we've grabbed it and used it. Anyway, that's 2 barriers for the upgrade down, and it looks like just 1 more to go. Right. I figured that even if the third and final force field doesn't look as engulfing as the second, it doesn't seem like the third barrier is all that harmful to us, so... yeah, I see no real reason why Samus can't just reach out and grab it. Right, apparently nothing left to do for now except turn off the final barrier and grab the damn thing. Seems as good a place as any to call it a day.